Hello and welcome to all you Scorpios. Here is your monthly horoscope for July 2019. Now you are a fixed sign, dear Scorpio. And what is going on in the heavens in July, which is quite intense, but you do like that, right? Some intensity. Although I know some Scorpios who say sometimes the intensity is also a bit too intense. Anyways, apart from that, what I want to say is that this energy in general is not that much affecting you. It's not that much in key areas of your life. So that means to say that yes, the intensity is going on somewhere in your life, but it's not life-changing, so to speak. Apart from that, I'm going to give you a monthly general horoscope. So take what resonates with you. If it doesn't resonate with you, just say Veerle and off you go, because these monthly horoscopes of course are not tailor-made. That's very important to know that you are the captain of your ship and you have free will. Having said that, what is going on? Let's have a look. We have the eclipses, and on July the 2nd we have the moon and the sun together opposing Saturn and Pluto. And then on the 16th of July we have Venus and the sun with the north node opposing Pluto, Saturn, the moon, the south node, and all of that. So in a nutshell, this energy is compulsive energy. And don't you Scorpios know all about that? You are the sign that knows best how to deal with this. Because somewhere in your life, you will at least once, probably a bit more than once, have lived and experienced these energies. Venus opposite Pluto, Venus opposite Saturn. This is, but especially that Plutonian, also with the moon here, that is a very compulsive energy. And compulsive, I mean that you have strong desires. Don't you know everything about desires, dear Scorpios? And they are so strong that you can either do two things. You either give over, then you can get lost, of course, or you stand above the desire and you transform it. And that's, of course, up to you what you're going to do and what you can do. But let's have a look at this energy. Now, for the nerds around amongst you who want to know a bit more about astrology and this eclipses, what kind of eclipse family does it belong? It belongs to the Saros family North 3. If you want to know more about that, I always recommend Bernadette Brady, who knows everything about eclipses. And this family of eclipses is already a very kind of Plutonian eclipse family. So also about those strong desires, and it's even more emphasized by this eclipse now. So what to do? Well, first of all, let's have a look where this is playing out. For you Scorpios, this is playing out in the mind. Because these energies, Saturn, Pluto is in your third house, and then the Venus and the North Node, where you want renewal, where you want new ideas, is happening in your ninth house. So for you, there might be a paradox, and people don't like paradoxes. Why? Because it's contradictory energy, and people get a bit like, oh, what's going on here? But the trick is to see it as a paradox and to not try to suppress it. Because as you know, dear Scorpios, when you suppress things, it comes out in another way that you didn't expect or you didn't like. So the best thing is to transform this. So it has to do with Venus in your ninth house. It could be love. It could have to do with with a person. It could also have to do, ninth house is different things. So as this is general, so it could be love. It could also be traveling, ideas, studies, cultural events, philosophies. So there is something there. Venus with the North Node is a hunger for all these things that I just said, a hunger for new love, a hunger, but foreign, because it's in the ninth house. So maybe someone that has a different cultural background, or there's something Jupiterian flavor around it. So someone that can be a bit of a mentor for you. If you're single, you might have that longing, but or if you're not single, to connect with someone from a very different background, and chances are high that there is someone there. But it goes against, which is the Saturn Pluto. There is the fear of, could be anything, of course, but there's a fear in the mind going on as well. Now, two things are possible here. If the fear is connected of the fear of rejection, and this is about a person, I would say off you go and go through that barrier of fear. Because when there is a fear of rejection, and when you do what you're afraid of, and it's no guarantee that it's going to work out. Let's say you have an eye for someone out there, and but you're afraid, or blah blah blah. You have to think totally different, and to have a totally different paradigm, and you're very afraid of that. You fear also the rejection. Now, worst case scenario is, of course, that if you deal with this person and it doesn't work out, well, you're still alive. You're still alive, and that's why I would advise to you, go for it, go for your desire, even though you have those fears. On another level, when there are intentions that cannot be fulfilled because of this and that reason, you need to transform this. You need to do something with it and expressing it in a certain way, because otherwise, as I said, it's going to pop up somewhere else if you can't express it. So it could be the case that you have a desire to maybe publish, to study, but you think that you're not smart enough, for instance. Again, investigate if that fear is rational or not. If the fear is rational, just transform the desire. And I'll give in a minute a solution there, or some sort of solution. If the fear is irrational, I would say go for it. Go for it with the fear. And embrace it. Embrace that you have fear. Don't run away from it. But of course, in many cases, it will have to do with some desires that are contradictory to other parts of our lives. So that could be doing a study, but for instance, you don't have the money for it. Or going into a new relationship, but that person already has a relationship. Or whatever it is, there's something contradictory going on. What to do? Well, first of all, to acknowledge it. That it is like that it is a paradox, that it is annoying. But the good thing is that this eclipse is trining Neptune, and Neptune can give you some sort of transformative expression there. And Neptune is in your 5th house. So literally, this could be that, let's say that you have this desire and this longing and you can't express it. Well, express it through art, or express it through writing, singing, dancing, whatever it is that you love to do in some creative project there. Or maybe you have those strong desires there, but you can express them in your own project that you're launching, or a new company that you want to put up there, and you're using that creative desire nature that you're having there, that longing, you're using it to express it in a different form though, yes, but you're expressing it at least, and that is healthy. So it's like the typical, a lot of artists, they might have, a lot of big artists actually, they kind of suffer at a certain level, but then they kind of transform it through their art. Something the same is happening for you Scorpios out there. So you do have the ability to transform here. So when an opposition receives a good trine, good energy, then it can be released, some part of it, okay? At the same time, we're having Mars in Leo, which is the house of work for you. And and also Mercury going retrograde there and going backwards in again that 9th house. So this means that you can, for instance, go back to a country that you haven't seen in years and years. So going backwards, or you're studying something back that you haven't studied for years and years. All these things that has to do with the Mercury retrograde. And the Mars in the 10th house for the whole month is that whilst all this is going on, all these intensity is going on the background, you have the opportunity now, let's say if you want another job, to go for a job. That's Mars in the 10th. It's really working hard for getting a job. But it can also mean that you will have to deal with someone that is quite bossy at work, and but listen to them. Don't try to change them. Just change yourself. If you're really fed up with it, just and you know, if the desire to stay because of a certain reason is bigger, you need to accept that, and you need to accept where that person is coming from. But if you're saying, hey, I'm fed up with it, it's a good time to go for another job here, depending on your context, of course. So having said that, I wish you a very exciting month. I wish you a very, very good month, dear Scorpios. Thank you so much for listening, and see you next month. Bye bye.